If you're a highly sensitive coach and you feel like whenever you step away from your coaching business, you're having to start from zero and everything stops, then today's episode of the Wholehearted Business Show is for you. I'm going to walk you through actually how to create your own steady marketing plan so that you can take time away whenever you need it. Let's dive in. Hi there, welcome to the Wholehearted Business Show. I'm Laura. I help heart-centered and highly sensitive health and life coaches get more clients, grow their businesses and live the best lives while they do it. And today on the show, we're actually going to sit down and create a marketing plan that works when you can't. Now, there's all sorts of different reasons why you might have an off week, is what we're going to call it. And we're going to explore all of this as we go through. But if you are highly sensitive, heart-centered or neurodivergent, even if you simply just enjoy a bit more freedom in your weeks, there's going to be times when you need to step away and you cannot show up at the same level. Now, we explored this in last week's episode of the show. If you check out the link in the description, I'll link to that, where we talked all about how requiring ourselves to be more consistent is really difficult. And actually what we should be doing is focusing on how we can create a more steady business. Today's episode, we're going to actually build out a marketing plan that supports that steadiness. So if you are someone who, for many different reasons, maybe you have health concerns, maybe your energy ebbs and flows, maybe you have care and responsibilities, or maybe you simply just don't want to be working full capacity every single week, and the way that your life is means that it's going to ebb and flow. Perhaps you've got another job that you are still working while you're building up your coaching business. All of this is going to be really relevant, because ultimately what this is about is building a coaching business where when you do step away or when you work a little bit less, it's still going to be working for you. Now, this is not the same as all the coaches who promise you can jet off to Bali and work 2 hours a week and still make thousands of dollars in your coaching business. That is not the same thing. We are still having to put some work in, but what we're doing is we are building sustainability into our businesses so that when we do take a step back for whatever reason, we are not having to come back and start at zero. And that's what this steady marketing plan is all about. Now, most coaches build their marketing around them having to show up consistently. So whether that is strategies around having to reach out to people, doing DMs, doing networking events, posting on social media, which again, social media is somewhere you do need to be showing up really consistently to get results, generally speaking. And what happens is when they can't do that, for very expected reasons, as I've just described, we all have, I think to some degree, particularly if you resonate with me in my work, showing up at that level is really difficult. And we're going to have times when we're going to have to step back. So recognizing that when you build your business around these things and then you can't do them, everything is going to stop, and that is just simply not sustainable. But there is a different way that we can do it, and that is what we're going to look at today. So first of all, go and download the workbook that accompanies this episode of the show. If you go to /plan, you'll be able to download it for free, and that is going to guide you through creating this 3-tier, 3-capacity levels plan. So I'm going to explain what I mean by that in a second. But this is really going to help you completely change how you see your marketing, particularly if you have been focusing on networking and social media or anything that requires you to effort your way on a very day-to-day basis. We're going to be switching all of this up in this plan. Really, this is about why we need to build a business that can still function at our lowest effort weeks, because if we can't build a business that still functions at that level, we're going to really fall into a trap and it's going to get difficult to get results. So we want to build a business that still functions at our minimum level. Go and check out the workbook to be guided through this, but we are going to look at our capacity in 3 different tiers. So tier 1 is when our capacity is at its lowest. So this is perhaps we are literally taking time off, we're going on holiday or vacation, perhaps we are sick, perhaps our children are sick, perhaps we are taking time off to go and do something wonderfully fun, perhaps it's the end of the school term. If you're a parent like I am, like my capacity drops very low in the business in the last couple of weeks of the school term, and that's popped into my head because that's been quite recent for me. Summer holidays as well. Tier 1 is like your real low capacity level, when you really don't have a lot, if anything, to be putting into the business. Tier 2 capacity is like a regular normal week. So not amazing, not terrible, just like a very normal regular week for you is tier 2. And then tier 3 might be when you actually have a bit more capacity. It might be the weeks when actually you've got a bit more time on your hands and you can put a bit more effort into your business. You've got a bit more availability. Whatever that looks like for you, that's tier 3. So we've got tier 1, Very low capacity, if any. Tier 2 is we have our normal regular amount of capacity, and tier 3 is where maybe we're having a really high energy week. If you're a woman, maybe it's ovulation week and your energy's through the roof. Whatever it might be for tier 3, you have extra capacity available to you. So those are the different tiers, and what we're going to do is we're going to build out marketing that functions across each of those different levels. Now, the first thing that we need to recognize is that in tier 1, we are not going to be able to be doing anything that is going to market our coaching business. So we need to be in tier 2 doing the tasks and doing the actions and creating the stuff that is going to still function and make our coaching businesses work when we are at tier 1. And the same for tier 3. So we need to be in tiers 2 and 3. We need to be doing the work that is going to mean that our businesses still work in tier 1. And the way that I do this and the way that I teach to do this is that we focus on the marketing strategies that have a longer term return and that are more sustainable. So to give you some examples of this, what you might want to be working on in tier 2 is creating long form video, podcasts or blog posts or Substacks that once you have created them, go out and exist in internet land, and that is not the technical term for it, but go out there and exist online and are searchable. So people will search for whatever questions or topics that are related to your niche, and hopefully with the right strategy, and again, this is something that I teach, they will be found by the right people at the right time for them. And again, there's other strategies that we build into this, but ultimately it's about building out in your tier 2 in particular is what can you do in tier 2 that is going to create marketing content or marketing strategies that are going to still work in tier 1. Another thing that you can do in your tier 2 time is build out paid ads. That is going to support you to still get people coming into your world even when you are not able to show up. I do recommend paid ads. Some people have got an opinion on them. However, these days, organic content is not enough if you want to grow with any kind of urgency or swiftness. You do need to look at that at some point. So paid ads, organic content that is long form, that is searchable. I have a whole program on this called the Searchable Show Method, and this is all inside Wholehearted Business, which is my group program that is designed for highly sensitive, heart-centered coaches that is opening in September. So do go and check that out and get on the waitlist now. We cover all of this. So we are creating this stuff that is going to build over time. And what's great about this kind of content is that it just kind of sits there on YouTube, on your podcasting platform, on your website, and it will attract new people constantly. Every single month you will get new people finding that content, whereas if you are putting all of your effort into social media, it has a much shorter lifespan in terms of when people are going to find that and act on it. So tier 2 is all about putting the work in to the things that are going to build that sustainable base. And then tier 3 is all about what you can do when you have that extra capacity. So this is definitely, yes, post on social media when you have that extra capacity, go to networking events, DM people, have those conversations, like all of those extra fun things that you can do when you have the capacity, do them then. Rather than doing all of those things in like tier 2, do them in tier 3, because what's happening is that when you do those things in tier 3 as your tier 2 activities, they're not sustainable and they're not building in sustainability, because as soon as you don't do those things, they don't create results. Whereas what you do is if you're working on the tier 2 stuff is they will create results when you're in tier 1 capacity. So what happens is most people don't have anything that is working for them in their businesses when they are at a tier 1 capacity. And again, this is why often when it comes back after a break, it feels like you're starting from scratch. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our time in tier 2 and in tier 3 capacity levels to build out the things that are still going to create results when we're at tier 1 level. So what I suggest this can look like, and again, you can take this and run with it as a concept and put all sorts of different strategies into this. But what I would suggest is that at tier 1, what we want happening for us is that we've got content that we've created at tier 2 and tier 3 that is searchable and organic and a long form. So essentially what this looks like is blog posts, Substacks, YouTube videos, Pinterest to a certain degree as well, and podcasts. And these are all longer form pieces of content. They are searchable, so people can search for them when they have a question that's related to your niche or whatever it is, and find that content, and they have a long shelf life. So unlike social media, where you might spend a lot of time creating a reel and it might initially get some views and then those views are going to dip, What's going to happen with organic long form content is that you're going to put it out there, and hopefully with the right strategies in place, that content is going to get seen by more and more people over time, and it's going to bring people in. So once it's published and it's out there, you don't really have to do anything with that. It exists and new people will find it. So that is what we want to have in place for tier 1. Another thing that you can have in place that is going to bring people in when you're at tier 1 that doesn't require any effort from you is paid ads. So you can set up ads that run automatically on a very low daily budget so that people can find you even when you are not showing up. And again, the strategies that we need to have in place to make all of this work. But essentially, when you are at a tier 1 capacity level, you want content out there that is searchable and discoverable, that is bringing people in, even when you are not working or creating any more new content. And ads potentially that are running in the background at a very low daily budget that are also helping people find you that way as well. So that's ultimately what we want to have in place. Also, an email funnel where people join your email list and then are nurtured again without you having to do anything. So we've got automated stuff in there. We've basically got long form content on searchable platforms. We've got a little bit of paid ads, and we've got some automated stuff going on. And essentially, once those things are set up, and you would set those things up in tier 2 and tier 3, that will run without you having to do anything. And it's going to bring people in. So you're never starting from scratch. And then in tier 2 level marketing, what we want to be doing is creating that content. So your tier 2, your regular normal weeks, wants to be creating that long form content and just adding to that bank of long form content that is out there. You might also want to be checking in on your ads, and you will also want to be emailing your list. You might also want to, this is probably more of a tier 3 thing, but if you have the capacity to be creating extra emails so that you can schedule them if you know that you have a tier 1 kind of capacity level coming up. So tier 2 is all about building out those core foundational marketing strategies, content, checking in on your ads, emailing your list. That is what you want to be doing week in, week out. And that is the core of what it is that you're going to be doing that is going to make your business still work in tier 1. Tier 1, when you have very low capacity and when you want your coaching business to still be functioning without you in it, what we need to be doing is, when we are actually in tier 2, creating long form searchable discoverable content, which can be blogs, can be podcasts, can be videos on YouTube, can be Substack articles, can be Medium articles. There's all sorts of different things it could be, but look at long form content that you can create that is searchable and discoverable, and we want to be focusing on that. Paid ads as well. And like I say, I'd love to sit here and say organic content is enough, but it's not. We're going to want to supplement it with a little bit of paid ads. You don't have to do that right away. I would always build up your organic content foundation first, your searchable show is what I call it. And again, I have a whole program called the Searchable Show Method that lives inside Wholehearted Business, where I teach all of how to create this system. And then that is your tier 2. That is what you're working on in tier 2, so that when you do need to step away, it's still working for you in your tier 1 time, your tier 1 capacity. And then when you do have a little bit more capacity and you're at like a tier 3 level, then that's meant to do the extra things. That's meant to do social media. That's meant to do network, and that's meant to do DMing. That's all fantastic stuff to do on top. It's just about making sure that you've got the sustainability built in. So hopefully that makes sense. This is how we build out marketing that is still going to work when we're having an off week. This is how we build a steady coaching business with sustainability at its core that is going to bring clients in consistently, where you're not worried about where the next person's going to come from, when it doesn't feel like peaks and troughs all of the time. This is what we want to be building out. And yes, it does take time to build out a system like this, I'm not going to lie. But again, we do teach this in Wholehearted Business, so jump on the wait list for that. I also have a free training coming up really soon that kind of expands this, and where we look at actually the other parts of our business that we need to have running in a similar way to get this kind of result too. So I really hope that's been helpful. I would love to know what you think of this kind of mini training episode of the show. Do let me know if you're watching on YouTube. Let me know in the comments below. Tell me what you think. Again, go and download that workbook that accompanies this so you can actually put in the things that you're going to work on. And again, that's at wholeheartedlylaura.com/plan. And if you listen on the podcast, please pop me a DM on Instagram. I'm at wholeheartedlylaura. And I will be back next week with another episode of the show. I'm really looking forward to seeing you then. Take care. Bye.